Now then everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about something that many campervan owners should be aware of, and that is how LPG bottles work and how to stay safe using them. Whether you're cooking, heating or running your three-way fridge, gas is still super handy in a van, but it does need to be treated with a bit of respect. I'll be also dispelling a couple of myths too today. This will just be me in a van with my phone, a microphone and a brew, so no fancy props or fancy editing. So hopefully we can get this done in one recording. Whilst many have gone gasless in their vans, there still is, for now at least, a place for gas. For instance, a three-way fridge running on gas will use very little fuel, and if the vehicle isn't being driven particularly regularly, or it's not on hookup and there's little or no solar available, it's still a very viable option. Whilst outside the discussion of today, it is worth bearing in mind that a three-way fridge installation is not as simple as installing a 12-volt compressor fridge. They need to be room sealed, externally vented, and when in use the vehicle should be level, as otherwise the flame will not be vertical inside the burner, which means the fridge won't cool. First, let's quickly look at what LPG actually is. LPG stands for liquefied petroleum gas. It is mainly sold as propane and butane, which are byproducts of oil refinery and processing. LPG is sold at pumps at some petrol stations, and it's also sold at some outlets. This is all very confusing, but essentially LPG is just a family of products with propane and butane being amongst them. Propane and butane are generally sold in bottles, and otherwise LPG is sold at pumps. Anecdotally, LPG in mainland Europe is blended differently depending on the time of year. More propane in the winter. So be mindful of this. If you're using a van in winter that's been previously filled in the summer, you may find that some of your appliances don't work when it gets cold. As far as the UK is concerned, the blend is the same regardless of the time of year. So if you're staying in mainland UK, it shouldn't be a problem for you. When crude oil is refined or it's cleaned up for natural gas, butane and propane are separated out. Instead of being wasted, they're captured, stored under pressure as a liquid, and then that's what we actually use in our bottles, in our vans. Now here's an important difference between the two. Propane stops boiling and turning into vapor at around 0 degrees C, the freezing point of water. This means that in cold weather it can stop working properly, so your appliances don't work. Propane, on the other hand, will continue to boil and produce vapor right down to about -42, so that's well within UK use. So if you're traveling in winter, propane is definitely the better choice of fuel. And just to clear up a common myth, people often say that butane freezes. That's not actually quite true. It doesn't freeze, it just stops boiling and therefore producing vapor, which the appliances use. Butane, however, does have a higher calorific value and weighs more than propane. That's why both gases are sold by weight, not volume, even though the bottles are of a physically similar size. The good news is that campervan appliances work with either fuel, so you don't need to worry about changing any jets. But in the case of bottle-mounted regulators, the regulators are different between the propane and butane bottles, and within bulkhead-mounted regulator use, the pigtails are different. Adapters are also available to enable camping gas bottles to be used with butane pigtails if you've got an emergency situation when you run out of fuel, particularly in Europe. Camping gas is actually an expensive way of obtaining gas, but it is quite versatile and easy to get hold of. So if you're using one of the hobs can also run on natural gas, that's such as those that appear on Amazon, for instance, which you always advise against using, then yes, the jets or burners would need to be changed. These hobs often fall outside regulations. The burners' tops may not be secured with screws properly, and the flame failure devices may actually not sit in with the regulations, may not be accurate. Most campervans either use propane or butane gas stored in these bottles or cylinders. When you open the bottle's valve, some vapour flows out through to the regulator. The regulator reduces the high pressure inside itself from the bottle down to a safe, steady flow that the appliance can use. Without it, your appliances wouldn't work properly, and it could even be a dangerous situation if you try to put the gas straight in. Bulkhead regulators should always be mounted higher than the bottle, as LPG is made from oil, as we previously discussed, and it prevents the buildup of residue from the oil, blocking and damaging the regulator. Only refillable bottles should be refilled because they've got safety cut-off. This stops the bottle being filled at around 70 to 80% full. The LPG in a bottle is actually boiling at room temperature, much like kettle. This boiling liquid produces a vapour, and it's this vapour that's used by the appliances in the campervan. Overfilling a bottle would potentially allow the liquid gas to reach the appliance, and in the case of a hob, it could actually act like a flamethrower, which would obviously be very, very dangerous. It is also worth noting, clearing up another myth here, overfilling at an LPG pump will not cause an explosion. The pump will simply stall once there's sufficient pressure in the bottle, just as it does when refilling a refillable bottle and the cutoff closes. If pumps really produce so much pressure that they could cause an explosion, then those safety valves would never work in a refillable bottle, because the gas would just simply go straight through and keep the pump open and the valve inside the tank. So the area that above that 80% is really just to allow vapor to produce that 20%-ish. Low direct fill bottles are available from several manufacturers. I wouldn't recommend using those. I always recommend using a body mount fill point, because also I would also suggest that you use a mount on the outside of the locker, because petrol station staff may think you're trying to just fill a normal bottle. In the case of non-fillable bottles, such as Calagas bottles, these are actually filled on an exchange basis and remain the property of the company, the supplier. So you buy the gas on an exchange basis. So you shouldn't really sell them, and occasionally you do see them on Facebook, etc. So it's not really what you should be doing, because they're not yours to sell. And likewise, if you change your van, you should keep the bottle or send the bottle back. You shouldn't go with the van. It's something that most people aren't aware of, and occasionally you get asked, where do you refill the Calagas bottles? Well, you don't. You just buy a new fuel every time, which is a bit of a problem because they're always getting some gas back. Anyway, let's talk about safety. The important thing about gas bottles, you should always store them upright in a proper gas locker that's vented to the bottom of the vehicle. The gas bottle must also be strapped in so that it can't move or fall over in the locker while you're driving. And if there's space for two bottles in your locker, such as a double locker, there should be two straps on each bottle so they don't fall on the side. If there's just one, you only need one. So if it's not strapped in, you can imagine the problems. It could damage the pipework. You could end up with liquid propane actually entering the appliance. It could damage pipework, etc. It should be quite dangerous. So that's why they must be tied in. Drop vents are essential as well, because it acts like water. Any leaks, it will just drop out of the bottom of the van. So every appliance joint, valve and bottle vent, whatever, should be vented down to the bottom of the van to let the gas, which is acting like water, out of the van. Otherwise it could be potentially a build-up. Ideally you should turn off the bottles when you're driving and not using a van. Some modern systems, some of the crash safe Truma pigtails do actually have a system which you allow to keep the gas going when you're driving, and these are normally identifiable by a green reset button. You should regularly check your hoses. Rubber hoses can crack over time for sunlight, but also as LPG is made out of oil damages rubber over time, and it can damage the hose over time too. Also, generally make sure that you're changing your hoses at regular intervals, or put down in the bottom when they should be changed, and likewise the regulators need changing over time as well. But I'll put that down in the text at the bottom because there's quite a lot of information there. Always check the dates stamps on the hoses and the regulators, because they do have a shelf life too. That's normally printed on the actual pipe, and it's also stamped on the regulator. You could always ask an engineer to check for advice. And if you are looking for leaks, never use soapy water because it contains salt. Can also not see smaller leaks, it won't detect them. So it's a bit of a bad practice, and never ever use a naked flame. When you're using a hob or something like that, just keep checking the flame. It should be a nice blue. If it starts turning yellow, that's a sign of incomplete combustion, which means the appliance is actually producing carbon monoxide, which is odorless and very hard to detect, and it's potentially fatal. So turn the appliance off straight away. So blue is safe, yellow means danger. Ventilation is also key. Gas appliances use oxygen, so make sure that your van is well ventilated. Caravans tend to have roof-mounted vents with fixed ventilation, which would potentially cause a lot of road noise if you're driving in a van. So campervans generally don't have fixed ventilation in the roof vents, so it's because it's assumed that the van's got vents in the cab, various other places that can do, like slam vents, etc. So these aren't present in your van, particularly if you've got a fixed bulkhead. Just be mindful of this and make sure you're still getting adequate ventilation. And always make sure you've got a carbon monoxide detector and regularly test it in your van. It could literally save your life. So gas is brilliant. It lets us cook some meals, stay warm, and enjoy off-grid life. But like anything in a van, it is all about using it safely and properly. Each appliance should, as we mentioned before, be able to be isolated and have its own drop vent using a stop tap or manifold. Both the locker and the stop taps should be accessible without any tools, the only exception being an external gas locker, which may be locked with a key. So that's a quick guide to how gas bottles work, where LPG comes from, the difference between propane and butane, and the basics of gas safety in a camper van. If you found this useful, please give it a like, a thumbs up, and subscribe for more information on camper vans, hints and tips, etc., and some of my adventures. And if you've got your own safety hacks or any information, just let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear about them. Underslung tanks are a different topic in their own right, so let me know in the comments below if you'd like me to discuss about those too. I'll also be doing a video in a similar format about the statement, fuses are only protecting the wire, not the appliance. Now hopefully I will have a prop to actually show you that whilst this is true, essentially a fuse cannot predict an appliance about to fail, you should bear in mind the rating of an appliance when you're fusing a cable, and hopefully I'll have a prop to show you that. And the statement just saying, oh, a fuse never protects an appliance, if you stick to that rigidly, you could actually get problems, and it's a potential safety issue too. So thanks again for watching. If you stayed with me this far, I really appreciate it. So the next video may be a trip out in the van. Otherwise, I may do another quick unplugged video like this one was. Look forward to hearing from you again soon. Thank you.